This lighting looks almost too good. Like, it looks like the blue behind me. It looks like I'm in a movie. Wow. Hey, what's up? I'm in my car. Oh my gosh, I forgot. This is a sunroof. Woo. Even more blue. I'm in my car because I don't really know. I just felt like I need to get out of the house. I'm about to do a little grocery run. I'm literally sitting outside of an Aldi in the parking lot right now. But before I got my groceries, I was like, you know what? Let's talk, because creativity has been on my mind recently. I've had so many conversations with young professionals, young females, new moms, new parents about feeling like they're losing some of their creative spark, losing some of their energy, their creativity. And although I'm not a parent or, not necessarily in certain life seasons as everyone who said those things to me, I think I've got some thoughts on this topic, because I too have felt like, as you get a little older, as you go from a high schooler, a teenager into college, specifically where I went to, where college was art and design school. So your creativity was like kind of on a timeline, like all your homework, you had to be creative, but it was like due at a certain time. It kind of like changed my perspective on things. And then you have to jump out in the real world and get a job and make money for yourself. And again, whether you're in a creative field or not a creative field, your version and emphasis on how much creativity plays a role in your life and how much time you can put toward purely creative endeavors and what that looks like, and whether that's, something that you do day to day or just a hobby in the distance, whatever it is. Like I've been there. I'm still there sometimes where I feel like, man, how do I get my creative spark back? I also find it hilarious that dude just rolled up right next to me. Right freaking next to me. So my cute little background's gone. Now you have a freaking blue Honda sedan. Anywho, I'm excited to talk about this because as I was thinking about this topic and thinking about all the advice I've given my friends on this matter, I was like, man, I really feel like this is going to help you. I hope. Maybe it's one of those days where I think I'm going to be more wise and insightful than I actually am. But I really hope it helps someone out there, especially someone who's just been not sure how to get their spark back or their creative juices flowing. Wait, pause. Can we veto the phrase creative juices? I just feel like it's a little dirty. Their creative things, mindset, flow. I don't know. Why are all the terms so weird? Anyway, let's talk about getting creative, finding it, doing it. Let's go. Here we go. Yay! Hey, before we continue, can I talk to the creative girls for a second? Okay, so if you have been feeling a little burnout, overwhelmed in your work or your life, or maybe you've just been dreaming about starting your own creative business and just need the motivation and the tools to really kick things into gear, I want to let you in on something that just might help you out. So I'm hosting a creative photography workshop and retreat built especially for you. Not only will you get 3 days, 2 nights of rest and relaxation, all the good stuff at the viral cliffs of Hocking Hills, but you'll also gain relevant tools for your business. There will be high-end and editorial bridal-styled shoots for the photographers, videographers, and wedding vendors, breakout sessions led by actual professionals to answer all of your questions and leave you with answers to transform your next season of creative work. And if I'm being totally honest, it's not just fluff. You guys, I have been to those workshops and I'm not a fan. We are going to get into the nitty-gritty here with real practical advice and tools on topics vital to propel your business and your life. This is also my 3rd time hosting an overnight workshop like this, and in the last couple years, they all sold out. So tickets are not yet live, but I wanted to make sure you got first dibs, so hop on the waitlist right now to be first in line, and mark your calendars for May 11th through 13th, 2026. I will link everything below. Make sure you head to my website, indiajadephoto.com, and check the link in the bio to get on the wait list. Okay, back to the episode. I am making white chicken chili after this, and I'm really excited. I'm going to go into Aldi, get my ingredients, come home, and make a big vat of chili. So, we don't have all day. I'm just going to get to it. Usually I like to yap a little, talk about my life, talk about what's happening. None of that. None of that, except for one quick story because it relates to this topic, okay? So earlier this week, my husband and I were asked to model in a styled shoot that a photographer was putting on. And the entire theme of it was Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera. Excuse me, I just burped a little bit. So anyway, this friend was like, hey, I've got this concept. I would love to have you guys model for me. Halloween's coming up. I'm thinking it's Phantom of the Opera style. And I've got, a mansion that we can shoot at. I've got the props. I've got some ideas for you. Can you guys grab some costume pieces? I'll bring a couple as well. And we'll do this. And usually when an idea like that rolls around, to be so honest with you guys, I have limited time and Ian has limited time. And we're usually like, hey, it just doesn't fit into our schedule right now. But once in a while, if it falls on a weekend where we have nothing going on or a day off, or if it's just something that we're like, that kind of sounds fun, then we might say yes to it. This happened to fall on a day where it was my Sabbath and Ian was going to take the day off because we both had a very busy weekend of work. So we were like, you know what? This isn't going to take that much time out of our day or out of our lives, and it's going to be so freaking cool. So we did it. And we got a makeup artist friend of mine who did my makeup. I did my hair. I borrowed a gorgeous wedding dress from someone. Ian looked awesome. He got to put on the Phantom mask and everything. I'll put some pictures in here maybe. Maybe I won't because I'm saving it for Halloween. Check my Instagram on Halloween. I'm going to post them all. And we went to this beautiful mansion castle called Makochi in, that sounded gross too. Makochi Castle in Marysville, Ohio. And it's actually a brand new wedding venue. It's like a year old and it is so cool. It's a historic place. It is stunning. Like it looked like something so whimsical out of a fairy tale book. It was just really, really cool. And we hung out and took photos and, played music and walked around and just took in all the sights and sounds and made art together. Afterwards, we all went out to Texas Roadhouse because nothing says a styled shoot like Texas Roadhouse. And it was just so much fun to chat with these creatives, hear about what's going on in their lives, make some art together, celebrate life together. Like all of it was just a blast. Now, India, why are you telling me this story? You're trying to tell me how to get my creative spark back. And here you are boasting about being a model. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I looked really freaking hot that day. I don't look so hot right now. But I'm telling you this story because I think sometimes when we're thinking about getting our creativity back, we look inside ourselves and go, okay, where's my creativity? Come on, self, like push it out, be creative. And I just don't think that's always the case. In this experience, I didn't have to do a whole lot to initiate the creative shoot. I didn't art direct it. I didn't come up with the idea. I didn't have to lift my camera. But once someone else said, I have an idea, here's what I want to do. Would you guys step into my creative space and bring it to life? It wasn't hard to step into character and then get really into it and then feel really excited by it. And before you know it, we're all laughing over Texas Roadhouse about how we should do this more often and how this really brought a creative spark back to life. And then we all go home and we have new videos and pictures and it just felt fun and freeing. And I think that's just something that you can learn with creativity and on this search for your own creative self again. Don't always rely on yourself. Like, don't always look inward for creativity. Sometimes it's good to look outward and just ask others for help being creative. Ask others if they have an idea for you, if they've noticed a talent or a gift that you possess that, they could help guide you in or they want to encourage you in. So that was my first point today, guys, was like, don't just look inward, look outward and do it in community. I think 98% of the problems in the world could be solved if we turned to community rather than just ourselves. So that was my very first point, but let's talk a little more practically. Like, maybe you don't live with creative people or near creative people. Maybe those offers do not come by very often, or you just don't know where to start. And you're like, I'm just looking to be creative myself again. Thank you. These are my little tips for you. Number one, or I guess number two, because that was number one, try something you used to love. Like, remember when you were a kid and you would just ride your bike, or you used to play with Play-Doh, or you played video games or whatever. Try something that taps into your childhood creative self. I said that weird. Creative self. You get what I'm saying? Try something that taps into who you were when you were younger and just see what happens. You know, I think you don't have to put an agenda on it. You don't have to go, well, I don't know, playing video games isn't really creative. It doesn't matter. I'm going to push this down just a touch so you can see my cute sweater while I'm talking. There we go. That's cute. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be creative in the sense of arts and crafts creative, right? I think creativity can be ingenious. My words. My words are not wording today. What's the word I'm thinking of? Ingenuity, problem solving. Put that in a sentence. Ingenious problem solving? Is that right? Okay, maybe I shouldn't have shown me a cute sweater because it made me all distracted with my vocabulary. But you get what I'm saying. Like sometimes it's not just arts and crafts that's a creative thing. It's, writing a story that can be creative. It's problem solving in ingenious ways. Who knows? It's inventing something from scratch or finding a new, better, faster, cuter, more aesthetic solution to a problem. I think we often think, oh my gosh, I'm not creative because we're thinking just in very basic literal terms of visual arts. And that's super limiting. Creativity comes in all shapes and sizes. So anyway, tap into something you did as a kid that made you feel creative and free and fun and don't have any restrictions on it and see what that does. The next thing, do something embarrassing, but have control over it. The reason I say that is I think when we think of embarrassment, it's like, oh my gosh, you farted. That's embarrassing. And you feel shame and you feel like, yuck, I have no control over the situation. Everyone's pointing, everyone's laughing, and it just doesn't feel good. It feels kind of icky. But I think when you can control the embarrassment a little or the cringe factor a little bit, I think it changes things a bit. Like I would say a good example is, if you're a class clown or just, let's say not a class clown, if you are really ditzy and you trip over yourself, you're accident prone or something in high school and someone points and laughs, you lost control of the situation and it's a little embarrassing, right? Doesn't mean anything different about you. I did that all the time, but it feels like, oh my gosh, I feel embarrassed. But if you are a body comedian, a stand-up comedian, and you're using your body to do physical humor, like Jim Carrey style, tripping over yourself, Abbott and Costello, pinching, laughing, whatever, all of a sudden, your silliness, that embarrassment has a purpose. You know what I'm saying? You're getting the control factor and now you're doing it to make people laugh, but you're still in control because you're aware of the situation. So I say that to say audition for something, okay? It's okay if it feels cringy. Record yourself reading a monologue, a dramatic reading or something. Make a TikTok that's really stupid and put it out there because you have the control over it. You can post it, you could take it down, you could share it with your best friend, you could not. You could audition for something and submit it or just don't do it. But what I'm saying is you're controlling the situation just enough. And ideally, I would say I'd love to see us all grow so that, embarrassed or not, we're just confident in who we are and we can go out and make choices and live with those choices and own our embarrassing things. And who cares if anyone's cringing about it because it's your life at the end of the day and you should be proud of yourself for trying something new and creative, right? But we're all human. I still struggle with this too. So if you need to start somewhere, I guess, do something embarrassing, but have a little control over the situation and see if that starts to kind of stir something in yourself. Okay. On the same line, try making something without telling or showing anyone. I think for me, I think of that as without marketing it, without asking for feedback or sales or there's no marketability, return on investment, right? If I'm going to go try something like knitting for the first time, I promise myself I'm not going to go turn around and sell this on Etsy. All right. I'm not going to offer to be a knitting person for everyone. I'm not going to find a new hobby or new creative outlet of making candles from scratch and then turn around and make a little Etsy account and ask for money for Christmas. No. Now, if you want to start a candle company, that's fine. I'm saying this is if you're trying to get that creativity back, don't put pressure on yourself to be perfect at it and don't put the expectation of, well, if I'm spending money on XYZ to be creative, it has to fill some kind of purpose. It has to make me money in return. It has to do something for society. No. We could talk about that on a different level, different days, because I do think creativity inherently does things to society, because it changes you on the inside, and then you go change the world, and then everyone looks and goes, wow, that person walks around with confidence and creative outlet, and they feel enthusiastic and inspired all the time, and that's the kind of person I want to be. And then they have a positive influence on them, and they go and be the change they want to be in the world, and it just goes in this cool little cycle of everyone being happier and being more creative, because we're all making risky choices that are still in favor of the betterment of the world, aesthetics, and our neighbor, which I think is a really beautiful thing. But anyway, if you're not feeling like you're allowed to give yourself permission to make something without it making a difference, this is your permission. Just freaking make it, because it does have a ripple effect. You don't have to get your money back. You're allowed to spend money on being a creative and never see a dime of it again. At least I'm telling myself that, because I just ordered $50 worth of quilting supplies, and now I don't feel motivated to do my quilt anymore, but I'm going to try. Okay, the next thing, do not go to the internet when you're trying to be creative out of your own self. What I mean by that is, like, don't go to the internet for inspiration, but maybe once in a while I could see you going to the internet for validation, okay? What I mean is, like, yeah, I think it's okay to Google a couple creative ideas that you could try if you're really just like, I need something. I need a hobby. I need an outlet. I need to think of an activity I can do. You could do that. But don't spend hours on Instagram Googling your new hobby. I guess that's not Googling. Instagram researching your new hobby, because what you're going to find is a million people who did it better and amazing and who are professionals, and it's all flashy and aesthetic and beautiful. And if you were like, wow, I really feel like I need to, start a business in construction, and I want to renovate homes and design things and be an interior designer and, work with textile companies. Like, you could go and, like, get your pieces in place with the internet, but please, please, please don't stifle your creative dream or instantly douse your new inspiration with comparison because, well, she's already got that. Oh, well, they already did. Well, there's already 500 of these interior designers and construction people, so I just shouldn't do it at all because, you know what, mine's not going to be as good as theirs. Don't do it, okay? You can use it for validation if you need a little, like, is this a dumb idea? Is it a good idea? Should I start this quilt? Oh, look what I could do with quilts. Okay, now I feel better with the quilts. You can do that, but don't go and try to, like, over-explain things. You're just going to get let down and you're going to compare yourself. It's not going to be pretty. Another tip, pray about it. Besties, pray about it. I don't know if faith is your thing or not. It's something that I turn to, and I think personally that God gives us the things we're asking for. Maybe not in the timeline we're thinking, maybe not in the way we're thinking, maybe not in the mediums we're thinking, but I just don't think prayers go unheard. So the least you can do is have faith big enough to know that if you pray for something and it doesn't come true, that faith still exists and God still exists, right? That's like the whole point of faith, is like believing without seeing. So I never want to, say pray about it. It'll just happen, because I just think that there can be some theological hiccups in that where people, lose their faith because they prayed for something for so long and it never happened in the way that they're thinking. And then they're like, well, then why pray at all? But I do think there's value in praying, even if it does nothing more than let you hear those words out loud. Lord, I want creativity. I want to live a life of inspiration. I want to think of things differently. I want to change my perspective. I want to feel free again. I want to feel like a kid again. I want to feel inspired again. Those are all beautiful prayers, and they don't take much time or anything fancy, just to like ask for that to happen in your life. And I think it could be cool. I think God listens to those things, and I hope he gives you that creative energy and light back. Another tip, do something in a group setting. It's fun to be creative with people. I think creativity breeds creativity. Recently, we did a 48-hour film competition. Ian and I have a whole video on what that experience was like. This was like our second or third time doing this. So we had a lot of fun with this one, but this time we did it together as co-directors, and we had pretty much a whole new team of people we were working with. There was a lot of positives from that, a lot of, things that could have been done better, but it was so much fun. And the main reason was that we all walked away and went, whoa, we freaking did that. Like, we made a movie in literally 48 hours, 2 full days from start to finish, from writing to completion to editing, everything in between. We actually just found out we got 3rd place overall with the film, which was really exciting. And we won for sound design and editing. So yay us. It was so fun. But that group setting really just helped because you have accountability, you have creative, ideas bouncing off one another, and you get people riled up and kind of motivated to be all in on a crazy, kooky weekend idea. And I think the more we create in community with that mindset of like, what can we make together? And what we can make together will probably be better than what we could make separately. That is just a beautiful thing, I think. That's just really fun. So try to find a group. Even if, again, you don't feel like arts and crafts creative people, that's fine. Just find a group. Try. Start where you are. Do something you would never do. And then following up that tip, do something you've always done, but maybe in a different way. Like doing something you would never do. I mean, I'm not going to advocate for skydiving. I do think it's a little creepy. But if you want to try skydiving, try skydiving. If that's something you would never ever do, but you're open to it, maybe try it. Eat a new food, try something that, raw fish. Okay, go to a Japanese place, get some sushi. Try it. Why not? Just don't get a tapeworm. It's all good. All kinds of things. I can't think of any more right now, but you know what I mean? Like something you would never do. And then go to something that you've always done, but try it in a new way. Let's say you're a watercolor painter. Try painting in your left hand. Let's say you are a Minecraft expert. I'm not a Minecraft expert. I don't even know where this example is going to go. Try building your house blindfolded. I don't know. You get what I'm saying, okay? Whatever that thing is that you go to be creative or even just to unplug, try it, but try it different. That's all I was trying to say. This advice might be controversial, but I think it's valid. Fake it till you make it, bestie, okay? If you want to be an Olympic athlete, you have to pretend that you are of Olympic athlete quality every time you go to work out, every time you go to the gym, every time you're competing, right? You have to pretend you're a big deal in that field before other people will acknowledge that you're a big deal in that field. I don't mean you should run around fraudulently persuading people that you're someone that you're not, but there is an element of like faking it till you make it, When I first started photography, I was a teenager. I had a little tiny Nikon Coolpix point and shoot camera. I had to pretend like I was a big deal in photography and that I knew what I was doing, quite honestly, when I did my first senior session ever. Because I didn't want to seem dumb or inexperienced. It was also with a friend, so it was all fine. But then I got a little more in depth and I had to pretend like I knew what a contract needed to say so that I could be protected. And then I learned more and pivoted. Now it's my full-fledged business and all those things. I have very robust, legally approved contracts. I have a lot of photography gear. I know how all of it works pretty in-depthly. So there comes a point where you go from faking it to, no, I am a professional now. Like I have learned, I've adapted, and I've done what I needed to do to make this go from, being a chameleon in something and just trying to learn by example and just kind of weasel your way through to being like, no, I'm no longer a chameleon. I am a big deal. So yeah, I think what I'm saying with this is it changes your perspective to emulate someone that you're not or someone that you hope to be. If you want to be that it girl who gets up super early, goes to Pilates, drinks green juice, comes home, goes for 10,000 steps a day and eats green salad for dinner, you have to pretend like you're that girl until eventually you become that girl. I just hit my boob. You don't need to know that. Someone said something so funny on the internet the other day. They were like, it's so hilarious that we have to pretend to sleep to actually fall asleep. And I do think that's the perfect analogy of this. You have to give a little before you can fully become the thing you want to become. Does that make sense? All right. Another tip for you is to mix up your mediums. Now, I know that I mentioned creativity is not just limited to visual arts, crafts, whatever, but mediums can be pretty much anything, right? So if you make music on your computer with software, try landscaping, get off your computer, try to be completely 180 from what your creative hobby used to be. If you're a video editor, same thing, kind of digital on a computer. Try baking, with your hands in a kitchen with flour and sticky things everywhere and ovens and mixing up the baking soda and the baking powder. I did that with a batch of scones once. It wasn't great. If you love painting, try being a DJ. Do it at a live event, be an MC or something like that. If you love, comedic things and joking around and making funny TikToks or being a stand-up comedian, try colored pencils. I don't know. I just think it's good to mix things up. And I think that does something by changing the neurons. I'm not a doctor. Changing the neuro pathways in our brains. I think that's correct. And just mixing up what we're used to and the things we're used to doing. I think all those things help you rewire yourself and be creative. Okay, I gotta finish this up. I want to make some chili. Try to involve all of your senses in something when you're trying to get your creative spark back. Like, how much can we integrate smell, taste, hearing, as many things as we can. Even if it's one of your beloved go-to creative outlets, like try it in a different way where maybe you love writing and you're sitting there writing a novel or something. Turn on some spooky music in the background or some Mozart or something, light a candle that kind of helps you get in the mood, or I don't know, put your feet in Epsom bath salts while you're writing. So like everything can be different around you and maybe you'll have a different output of what you're doing. Get offline as much as you can. I know you're watching my video. Thanks for doing that. I want you to like, subscribe, and then turn this thing off, because I think the more we're online, the more, again, we compare to others. We, will stifle ourselves out or just convince ourselves that being creative of our own fruition. I cannot speak today. Fruition? It's an F. Fru. Being creative on our own terms is just not going to be worth it if we see how successful other people are at different things and we feel like all the good ideas have already been taken. I just don't feel like I have anything else to give. What's the point anyway? I'm just going to consume media and never make anything for myself. That's just so stupid. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, I got to wrap this up. No, seriously, take a hike, get offline, be in nature. I have never, ever come back from a hike, from being in the woods, from a day at the park. I've never come back and gone, man, what a mistake. I feel so sad and limited because I went outside and saw grass. I touched some grass and now I feel worse. Never happened, ever. It is so good for yourself. It is getting back to our roots that we were intended to be. I love it. If you ideally could go take a hike in the mountains, go to Yosemite National Park, go to the Grand Canyon. Like, if you do that, if you can do that, do that. If you can't, find a metro park, spend at least an hour there, walk around, bring a journal, bring your AirPods, take your bike, whatever you want. Bring a sandwich. We'll have a picnic. Oh, invite me. But it's fun and it helps your creative juices flow. And even if you just sit there in silence and just look and observe and hear other people laughing and chatting, 10 out of 10, baby. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, clean up your environment on the inside, not your heart. I wasn't going to talk about that. Your house. It is really hard to be creative when you're living in a mess. I'm a creative myself. Ian's a creative himself. Our home is always a little well-loved and a little chaos. But that's okay. But when we make our best, most creative efforts in the world, it's usually after we've cleaned everything up, we've cleaned our brains, we've gone on, we've done those things, and then we come home and we have a cleaner space so we actually think. And once you can think and you're not just looking at visual clutter all the time, your creative juices be flowing. Again, not juices. All right. Outsource any non-creative tasks you can afford to outsource. I wish I was better at this. I wish I had a little more expendable cash in this area, but I have outsourced things before. I would love, oh my gosh, I never thought I'd get to this point, but I would love to outsource house cleaning, and I would love one day to be wealthy enough to outsource cooking. I never thought I'd be saying that. I do like cooking. I like making meals. But there's so many days where we're just so busy and we're going, and then we just kind of eat like garbagey, and then the house is super like dirty because we didn't wash the dishes in time, and I'm like, man, if I was like a full-time creative, like I get why actors and celebrities like outsource cleaning and cooking because they are being asked, filmmakers and musicians, like they are being asked to do and be so much throughout their day-to-day lives, to pour out creatively, to be in the presence of others and be on socially all the time, that when they come home, it'd be easier to make a, unhealthy snack decision or just like throw their stuff around and be living in a mess. And so I'm like, I get it. And I think the same, if you've got some expendable cash and that would just solve one of your problems to help you feel, like you can engage in life again and think clear, do it. You're employing someone else. You're helping out the neighborhood, cleaning people. That's great. Okay. Go for small, measurable changes as opposed to big, lofty goals. This one I'll talk on briefly. I do wedding photography. Obviously, it's my full-time job, and I've done it for so many years. I think I've done over 250 weddings at this point. Not an exaggeration. I tried to calculate the other day, but I lost track around like 150. But I've seen so much, I've done so much, and you can really easily fall into a formula of like these shots and then that shot, and I know what angle this is going to be, and and it's easy to just kind of like replicate the same thing all the time. And it's harder to pull yourself out of that repetition because it's become so second nature and actually push yourself to do something differently. So my little goal right now is every time I shoot a wedding, I just want to make just one out of the 4,000 images I shoot on a wedding day, one intentionally different image than I've ever shot before, or that, I've ever shot recently. Something that I usually wouldn't focus on gets in focus. I try a different angle that I wouldn't try. I use a different textile. Like if they have the invitation suite, instead of letting it just sit there on dry carpet, I'll toss it in a puddle and sprinkle water on it and see if that water ring does anything differently. I'll put the rings in the cake slice or something. I'll look, I'll get the couple in the foreground out of focus intentionally, and then have a long lens with lens compression and focus in on the parents crying in the background while they do their first dance or something like that. I will get up in front of the live jazz musician and get a funny angle of the saxophonist. I'm intentionally trying to add something different and break a little bit of that. This is normal. I know exactly what I'm doing every single time. This is just a habit. And try something different. So that I think has really helped me. And it's just a very easy goal. It's one different image every wedding. That's not that hard, right? Or every session, but it's measurable enough to me where I can try it without overwhelming myself. Like, I have to shoot this whole wedding differently. I have to be a different photographer. I have to just try something new. So yeah, measurable is good. And last but not least, when you're trying to get your creative spark back, it's good to have lazy days, but just find your flow with lazy and recharge days. I don't see anything wrong with taking a day. I believe in the Sabbath. I take a full day. Sometimes I delete my social media for that day. Other times I just want to sit and scroll and laugh on TikTok and just like unplug and let my brain just wander off into silly goose land. Some people need those days more than others. Some people, kind of slip into that routine of like chilling on the couch watching Netflix every single night, like becomes the norm. And other people have more energy to give and they don't want that, and that doesn't recharge them. They want to keep going. I've been in seasons of both personally, but I would just say like it's okay to have days where you're not creating at all. It's okay to have seasons, like literally months and months on end where you're not creating at all. That is all necessary, I think, to the creative process, but just don't let it become the substitution for the creative process. Keep experimenting, keep trying things that you love, things that you've never tried before. Make it weird, make it imperfect, just make something. Start where you are, use what you have, and I hope it helps kind of snowball effect into something beautiful for you. So if this was helpful for you, let me know below what creative endeavor you are going to be trying next. Big, small, arts, hobbies, crafts, Minecraft, I don't know. Anything you want to know, anything you want to try, let me know. I would love to like cheer you on in that and follow. And just, whisper little encouragements in your ear like this, like, oh my gosh, keep going, bestie. Thanks for listening. I need to go do my grocery shopping. I'm so happy we had this car chat. This lighting is just getting better by the second. Sun's about to set. It's going to be really cute. Thanks for listening. Go be creative, and I love you. See you next week. Bye.